Westminster, Manchester, London Bridge, Grenfell Tower, Finsbury Park, all terrible, serious, dangerous, violent and death-creating events over the past few weeks alone. And every one of those, the public obviously looking for a place of safety to try to get away from the danger. And every one of those, public service workers, firefighters, ambulance workers, paramedics, police, local authority workers, going to the scene of carnage, of terror and of danger in order to save life and support people. Firefighters running into the towering inferno of Grenfell Tower to try to desperately save lives, knowing that they themselves may be killed in the process. Ambulance workers tending people, knowing the dangers to them in Manchester and in so many other places. That's what public service workers do every day. Those in the emergency services and the blue light services do that every day. Other public service workers, less publicly recognised and known, do the same thing. They go into people's homes when they're suffering from a heart attack, or when they're terminally ill, or when they need care. Or people who are suffering from incontinence need somebody there to help them and change them. Those living rough, homeless people, public service workers, doing their best to try and help them. And so, whilst we all praise public service workers at a time of emergency, let's think through a bit longer on this. 7 years of pay freeze, 7 years of cuts in police, in fire, in ambulance, and in local government and in health services means that many of those public service workers have had no pay rise, in effect a 14% pay cut, and their jobs at risk, and because they're at risk they work even harder, and they often work way beyond the hours for which they're paid. They're the heroes of our society. And so, at this time, let's remember them, let's support them, and let's say to our government, put the money where it's needed into health, into local government, into the blue light services, so that we can all lead much safer lives. And remember also, the stress of being in a fire is terrible for the person whose home is burnt down, terrible for the survivors of Grenfell Tower, but it's also a trauma that lasts for a very long time for ambulance workers and others, because they've seen the death, they've brought the bodies out, they've tended those that are dying from their wounds. They need support and recognition as well. And so I hope that the events of the last few weeks will bring about the community response that lasts. I was very impressed with the thousands who came to Albert Square in Manchester to show as a community, as communities, we're going to be united. I was very impressed with the same thing that happened in Finsbury Park in my own constituency, where the following day after the terrible events there, thousands of people gathered in the community to say, we are united and we are together, and we're united together with those public service workers. So thank you to all public service workers for what you do. And wouldn't it be a good idea if we had a government that recognised their value and put the resources necessary into them, rather than tax cuts for the biggest businesses, the biggest corporations and the wealthiest people in this country?